My name is Andrea Capere, and you're watching Mission Nonprofit. Each month, we connect with local organizations and agencies that are making a positive impact in our communities. We've invited Rosalinda Noriega and Serenity Kaiser of Pizza Klatch to talk about their work in supporting LGBTQ and allied youth. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So tell us, what is the mission of Pizza Klatch?
The mission of Pizza Klatch is to foster resiliency within LGBTQ and allied youth and to create a safe and positive school experience for LGBT and allied youth through support, education, and empowerment.
And how do you achieve that?
Well, we offer a lunchtime support group for LGBT and allied youth. I forgot the Q in there this time, but everyone in the rainbow is welcome, including allies. And we serve pizza. The groups happen during lunchtime. We're currently in 12 of the local high schools throughout Thurston County, which we're really excited about. And basically the way that groups function is that they're facilitated by 2 adult trained facilitators every week, and students self-select to participate. It's confidential. We provide pizza, and the schools provide the space, and the students the content.
And can you tell us how Pizza Klatch got its start?
Sure. In 2007, local therapist Lynn Grotsky started Pizza Klatch at North Thurston High School, and at the time it was after-school program, but unfortunately some of the students were outed for their participation and were taken out of school. What we understand is that some of them were sent out of state and put into reparative therapy, which we know to be very harmful. And so the after-school group was discontinued, and they worked with the school officials who later agreed to allow Pizza Klatch to come in during lunchtime and hold groups during lunchtime so students didn't have to be outed to any potential unsupportive caregivers. And so right now we're seeing between 200 to 300 students weekly across the county, and they're reporting that it's helping them to helping them in their development, helping them with building community and explore identity, both sexual orientation and gender identity in a safe environment. They have more access to resources because we're able to let them know what resources are available specific to the concerns that they're talking about in group.
And so I'd like to turn to Serenity for a minute. Can you tell us how you got started in Pizza Klatch?
Well, I've always heard of Pizza Klatch. I'm a sophomore now, and last year I was a freshman, and so I went a few times, and then sophomore year really hit me with my sexual identity, and I started thinking of it more seriously. And then in class, I hit a really rough patch with some of the guys and their comments, and so I decided that I wanted to go to a group that would accept me in a more friendly way. And so I thought that Pizza Klatch, it's such a great organization, and that I should probably go and see if I like it or not. And so, yeah.
And I guess you liked it?
Yeah, I do like it, and
so
that's why now I'm a student representative of it, and I help out with social media and try to do my best to help.
So tell us a little bit about that student representative piece. What does that include besides social media?
So I go to Pizza Klatch meetings, and I notice things around school that are happening with LGBT youth, and I kind of take note of that, and I'm just like, okay, so this is negatively impacting us, and this is positively impacting us. And then at meetings, we sit down and we discuss the issues that are going on and how it can be improved, and what we're doing at Pizza Klatch right now, and all of that.
That sounds like a big role in driving organizational activity for the benefit of your peers.
Yeah, I feel like it is, because without the youth's voice. You can't really focus it around the youth, and so that's why I think Pizza Klatch is a really good organization, because they ask the kids what they want. They just don't assume like, okay, yeah, they definitely want that.
So tell me a little bit about Deep Dish.
Oh, sure. Deep Dish is our monthly group for our volunteer facilitators. It's a time for them to get together and build community, but also problem solve, so give each other support, give and receive support for any challenges that they face as facilitators. And so it's also a time where we can offer some training opportunities to our volunteers. And we get together and share a meal while we support one another and learn from one another. So it's a really great way to build community, because we have a pretty large pool of volunteers. On average, we have about 30 volunteers that are active every week facilitating groups.
Well, that sounds fantastic. How about we take a look at what goes on behind the scenes with those facilitators?
Great.
Hi, I'm Lucas Scott Miller, and I'm a facilitator with Pizza Klatch. I think I joined the organization back in 2012, I believe, so I've been facilitating for several years. So basically what we do is we go into area high schools once a week at lunchtime, and we hold support groups for gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, etc. youth and their allies. And we try to provide a safe, non-judgmental, confidential space where they can talk about pretty much anything that's going on with them. We try to keep the focus particularly on whatever they might be experiencing as far as their sexual orientation, gender identity, the atmosphere of the schools, any bullying they might be experiencing, just their experience of being queer students in high school. So Deep Dish is basically a meeting that we at Pizza Klatch hold once a month for the facilitators, our staff people, and occasionally some of our board members. And it's a time when we can share what's going on in our Klatches, exchange, advice, facilitator to facilitator. We can get some feedback from our executive director or our program director or our contract therapist who sort of acts in an advisory capacity for us. And sometimes we have programming where we bring in someone who can do some extra education on matters like anti-oppression work, or how to spot adultism or racism, or whatever other issues we might be encountering as facilitators. Sometimes we talk about how we deal with the administrations at the various schools we're in. We plan for other events that might be coming up, such as Pride, which is coming up very, very soon. But this is kind of a time when facilitators can connect with each other, get support, because, we spend the week giving support to our students, to our youth. But then, sometimes things come up that we need to seek support from each other about. So that's basically what Deep Dish is. We're very lucky to be able to meet here at the Lutheran Church, and one of our members, Kai Abrahamson, provides us food, which is always quite nice. So that's basically what Deep Dish is all about. Now that happens once a month. Well, I've been doing this for a few years. I've facilitated at several schools. But I've been pretty much at Tumwater High School is the one school I've been at consistently for the entire time that I've been involved. And what I've seen over the years is, one of the things we try to do is help the youth build support networks among themselves. Because, of course, we're there for like an hour once a week. We don't always have the opportunity to follow what's happening to them on a continuous basis. So we want them to be able to, create support among themselves and have that to draw on. And that, I think, has probably been the most rewarding aspect overall of being a facilitator is seeing how the youth learn to empathize with each other and to really be there for each other when they have, difficulties at school or at home or, in the community. And I think especially in the last year or so under the current administration. Of course, hate crimes have gone up. I've been hearing that the atmosphere in a lot of the schools, is harassment is on the rise. It's a rough time to be a queer youth in a public high school. But I've been amazed by how the youth have really just rallied and coalesced around each other. It's a very rewarding experience. We're looking as an organization to expand a little bit. We've started a group at the Olympia Regional Learning Academy, and we're hoping that from there we can expand into more middle schools, because that seems to be a place where the kind of support we provide is really desperately needed. So that's exciting to be going in that direction. We've really, in the time that I've been involved, we've experienced a real kind of growth spurt as an organization. We started off as something pretty small and kind of under the radar, and now we're at a point where schools are coming to us asking us to start groups. So just watching the growth of this organization has been really amazing. But of course, with that comes, we're desperately in need of volunteers and new facilitators. So people who are at all interested in supporting, GLBTQ youth, we definitely have a place for you. So please, come and get involved with us.
Well, that looks like a lot of great work happening.
Thanks. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So when I was in high school, we had gay straight alliances, or GSAs. What's unique about Pizza Klatch?
Well, we actually complement GSAs in many ways. Most of the schools that we're in do have GSAs. And the distinction between the two is the gay straight alliances tend to be more of the activist arm for students, and an outlet for them to organize around social justice issues. And Pizza Klatch is really more about support and community building. So building that peer support and learning about resources that are available. So it's really important, I think, for anybody, but especially youth who have been targets for anti-gay violence or harassment, or have struggled with thoughts of self-harm or suicidal ideation, breaking that isolation and building community is one way of building resiliency, so that they are more likely to stay in school, to stay in the home, and to access the resources that they need, to get the education that they need, to help them to achieve their goals in the future.
So do you see a lot of crossover between your peers that are in Pizza Klatch and those that might be involved in the GSA?
I have a lot of friends that are involved with Pizza Klatch and GSA, and so I'm friends with a lot of kids from the LGBTQ community, and so there's a whole bunch of crossover, considering when it comes to us as a community, we kind of latch on to that support, because a lot of the times we don't get as much support as we feel that we should. So stuff like this is really important.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you said that you're in 12 high schools in Thurston County?
Yeah.
That's a big achievement.
Only 2 more to go, so we're hoping, we're working on reaching out to both Yelm and Rochester, so those are the last 2 high schools in the county that we're hoping to get into. And then we get lots of requests from middle schools, so we're exploring that. We really, I think over this next year, especially, maybe the next couple of years, Pizza Klatch is really going to be focusing on infrastructure and capacity building, because we have grown leaps and bounds in 10 years from one group with 2 facilitators and a handful of youth to 30 weekly facilitators in 12 high schools and 200 to 300 students every week. So, we have a little bit of internal shoring up to do to make sure that that if we do any more expansion in the future, that there's consistency in the programming and in all aspects of the training and the support that we're able to offer to our volunteers, as well as making sure that we continue to provide quality services for the youth.
Sure. And so for those schools that may not have a Pizza Klatch, or they might want to have something similar in their schools, what would you tell a school administrator or a staff person, or maybe even, you know, families that are curious about this model and how to roll it out?
Sure. Well, I think there's a couple aspects to answer your question, and one is, why is Pizza Klatch important? And it goes back to the idea that that, you know, adolescence is hard enough, development is hard enough, right? We're trying to figure out who we are. And then to have questions or to have realizations that we as individuals may identify as being lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, asexual, questioning, queer, or an ally to the LGBTQ community. It can feel very isolating, especially when there are overt messages that say that, you know, there's just all kinds of negative messages, and so Pizza Klatch is a way of helping to break that isolation and build that support. In terms of what schools would need, you know, it's a simple recipe in terms of having trained and supported adult facilitators providing pizza, and then the schools providing the space, and then they're also partnering with us and giving us access to school officials that we can problem solve together when there are concerns about individual students. So we work often with school counselors or school administrators, and we're actually going to be working, we're exploring the idea of expanding or creating a replication manual. We're not quite sure what that looks like at this point, but we've actually contracted with our founding director, Lynn Grotzky, to do some research for us over the next year so that she can bring back that information, and as an organization we can decide if this is a direction that we want to go in, or if we just want to focus in, continue to focus in on Thurston County. But there's a lot of long-range planning that's happening right now, and it's all very exciting.
Yeah. So let's talk, so you mentioned importance, so let's talk about impact. How has this changed you? How has it made you a better advocate for your peers, and how has it strengthened you as an individual?
So personally, I feel like more empowered with who I am. I feel more comfortable and open. So when like people make jokes like that, I'm just kind of like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And I learn how to brush it off and deal with it without it getting to me, when it used to like really get to me. And going to these Pizza Klatch meetings, I get to learn about other people's identities and their sexualities. And so it helps you open your minds, and at the same time like help comfort yourself and build your own character. And so I think it's really important, especially for kids who don't have a safe home life, who will get sent to places to get them fixed, in quotes. And so having a place where they won't try to fix you for who you are is very, very important.
Do you have any success stories to share?
Whoa. Well, I mean, I think the success is the amount of community support that Pizza Klatch has developed over the last decade. You know, I wear my Pizza Klatch button out in public, and it's like, you know, you recognize somebody, or you know, they see your button and they recognize you as excuse me, as being an ally.
And last year at Pride, you had those, I think you had pronoun buttons as well, right?
Yes, and we'll have them again. Yes, absolutely. We have some that say, ask me my pronouns, and then we have the they, them, he, him, she, her, and so we just ordered a big shipment of them, so we'll have lots of buttons for folks at Pride this year.
So speaking of community support and that being the biggest success driving Pizza Klatch forward, how can the community continue to support you?
You want to take that one?
Well, you can sign up to be a volunteer or facilitator, and that really helps. And you could also donate, and all those donations go to Pizza Klatch organization and getting the pizza for the kids and like buttons and stuff and spreading the word. And it's it's really helpful.
And also serving on the board. We're looking for members of the board. We have just this year have initiated a diversity initiative, so we're really wanting to put some emphasis on ensuring that as an organization we represent the full diversity of the students that we're serving. And so, you know, we're looking for a wide range of talents and experiences and skills. And then other ways that people can support us, we have our annual Slice of the Good Life Gala. It's the first Saturday of February every year. And so we love to have more people attend. It's so much fun, and we get to hear from youth who talk about the impact that Pizza Klatch has had on them. And then if you can't attend, we're also always seeking donated items that we can put up for auction during our annual gala. So that's another way.
Lots of great ways to get involved.
Yeah.
All right. With just a few minutes left, can you share with me what's in the works for
Yeah,
Pizza Klatch?
absolutely. Well, we recently underwent a hiring process, so hopefully by the time this airs, we'll have 3 new staff members on board. Okay. So we're really excited about that. And then, like I mentioned, the research on the expansion project is happening. And we'll be participating in Capital City Pride on June 10th, which is always a lot of fun. And then the last couple of things are that we're getting ready for our annual Volunteer Appreciation Barbecue over the summer. And then because we are expanding our staff, we've outgrown our office. And so we're really excited to be moving into a new home in August. And we'll be right there on 4th Avenue, going up the hill towards the east side across from the old Olympian location. So we're super excited about that because we're going to be in a house, and it'll be accessible to youth as well.
That's so exciting. What a good problem to have, you know, running out of space.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, as our final question, how do you see your advocacy growing in the future when we're talking about like plans in the works for Pizza Klatch? We talked a little bit about, you know, you going forward in your education and in your life. How do you see yourself showing up for your community?
Well, Pizza Klatch really gave me the opportunity to get experience in an organization like this, and I know that I want to make an impact on the community as much as possible, even if it's like just a little. I just want to help people, and so being in Pizza Klatch and helping people and supporting people is really important, and being a social media like manager and like doing stuff like this, it's really setting me up for my future as a college student and in the adult life, which is scary, but it's really, really helpful.
Well, thank you for being a leader. And thank you both for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
That's all we have for you. You can see Mission Nonprofit on Channel 77 on Sundays at 4:30 p.m., Tuesdays at 7 p.m., Thursdays at 7:30 p.m., and Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. You can also catch us online at tcmedia.org. See you next time.